Okay, yesterday we did part 1, if you remember. I said we were going to do part 1. And then today we'll do part 2. Okay, so part 1 was just where you had to take like x plus 4 times x minus 6, for example. And then we get x squared minus 6x plus 4x minus 24. So x squared minus 2x minus 24. Okay, so that was part 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation right here and we're going to do this part. Okay, so it'll look like this. It says without graphing, find each feature of the graph of the equation y equals x squared plus 2x minus 15. First thing is to find the line of symmetry. All right, so this equation right here has a general form. It's y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, okay? Now, a is a number, ooh, that's way too big. A is a number, b is a number, and c is a number. So in this case, we had y equals x squared plus 2x minus 15. All right, here's my a. So a is 1. B is right there at 2. And C is right there at negative 15. That's the first thing we have to do is identify those 3 items, okay? Because then over here, for the line of symmetry, we're going to do, well, the line of symmetry, remember, basically it's our parabola, and we're trying to figure out right there, all right? All of those are vertical lines, which means that x equals a number. Okay, so for our line of symmetry, we're going to start with x equals, and it's going to be the opposite of b over 2a. Okay, so I look over here, b is 2, well the opposite of 2 is negative 2, and then 2 times a, so in this case it's just 2 times 1. Well 2 times 1 is 2, negative 2 over 2 is just negative 1. So x equals negative 1 is my line of symmetry. So we're not supposed to graph, but I'm just going to show you what we're looking at here. So what we're saying is that parabola folds right there somewhere. Okay? The coordinates of the vertex. Okay, so we're trying to decide where does the vertex, is it a maximum, is it a minimum, is it opening upward, is it opening downward? But it's somewhere on this line. So if it's somewhere on this line, that means your x was right here, right, at negative 1. So your x has to be negative 1, because we just figured that out. So I take this original equation, and wherever there's an x, I'm going to use my previous answer of negative 1, because we know all our x's are negative 1. So negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 15. All right, this is 1. Minus 2 is negative 1, minus 15 is negative 16. So my x is negative 1, and my y is negative 16. That's my vertex. So it's somewhere down here at negative 1, negative 16. Okay? And for our y-intercept, basically, see that one? Okay, so the y-intercept is going to be same thing we just did, but the y-intercept, all the points on this line are 0. Okay, so I'm going to put 0 in for x, same equation, but instead of putting negative 1 in, I'm going to put 0 in. Okay, so 0 plus 0 minus 15 is negative 15, so my y-intercept is 0, negative 15. So that means it's like right here. So it comes down and comes back up. Right now we're not figuring out the x-intercepts yet. I'll show you that later. But basically that just kind of shows you the shape. But I'm looking for these 3 answers. Okay, so grab your worksheet and we'll try one off of there. All right, let's try number 25. So this would be, 25 says y equals x squared minus 6x minus 5. Okay? All right, so first thing we have to do is we have to identify our A and our B and our C. Well, our A, again, is just 1. Our B is -6. And our C is -5. Okay? So, in here, oops, sorry, that's supposed to be X. X equals the opposite of B over 2A. So opposite of B, opposite of -6 is, is 6. And then 2 times A would be 2 times 1. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. So my line of symmetry is X equals 3. Then I take my original equation, and wherever there's an X, I'm going to replace it with 3. Okay, so 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 18 is -9. Minus 5 is -14. 9, right? 9 minus 18 is -9. Minus 5 is -14. So my vertex is 3, -14. All right, and then our last, that's our second answer. And our last one is going to be y equals, wherever there's an x, I'm going to put in a 0. So 0 squared minus 6 times 0 minus 5. 0 minus 0 is 0, minus 5 is -5. So 0, -5. Okay? All right, let's try one that's a little more difficult. And we'll end with that one. Let's try one with a coefficient in front of, let's try 32. Y equals -3x squared minus 18x minus 5. All right, this one's going to give us a little different answers. So my A is -3, my B is -18, and my C is -5. X equals the opposite of B over 2A. Opposite of B, opposite of -18 is +18. 2 times A is -3. So I have 18 over -6, which gets me -3. So that's my line of symmetry. Then I'm going to take my equation, -3x squared minus 18x minus 5. Wherever there's an x, I'm going to replace it with -3. Okay, now if you want, you can just throw that right in the calculator. If you're careful with your parentheses, it'll do it for you. Okay, but otherwise we get -3 times -3 is 9. 9 times -3 is -27. 18 times 3, 24, 54, right? So that'd be plus 54, minus 5. Okay, so 27, that's half of 54, so 27 minus 5, right, would be 22. So that's my y. My x was -3. There's my vertex. And my last one, put 0 in, so -3 times 0 squared minus 18 times 0 minus 5. 0 minus 0 is 0, minus 5 is -5. So 0, -5. That's a 5, is my vertex. Okay, so that should get you started. We were able to do 2 together on the sheet. So let's try the rest.